Do you have that nagging little voice that hangs out in the back of your mind that's rooting against you anytime you try to create positive change in your life? You know, that one that tells you that you're not good enough, you're not worthy of it, you're not capable, that people are going to laugh at you, and all of those other harmful stories. If so, this is going to be the perfect podcast episode for you, because on today's episode of the No Bullshit Manifestation Show, we are going to be talking about how to quiet this voice of doubt so that you can finally go pursue, do whatever it is that you want with your life and manifest more of the abundance that you desire. What's up, and welcome to the No Bullshit Manifestation Show, the podcast that demystifies all of the nonsense that surrounds manifestation and gives you a realistic view of what it's like to be on a personal, professional, and spiritual growth journey. I'm your host, Kat Kozad, manifestation and money mindset expert, and I'm so happy you're here. Let's fucking do this thing. So let me tell y'all, before going on my intentional manifestation journey and doing the inner work, the voice of doubt held me back from so much in my life. And just a little backstory on this. So growing up, I was overweight and I never felt as good or as smart or as pretty as my friends. And because of that experience that I had growing up, that continued to manifest into my life over and over again, even after I had lost the weight, even after I had recognized that I was worthy in my friend group and all of the different things, because that was so deeply rooted in my subconscious mind. And therefore, when I went to go and try to do new things or meet new people or have a new job or start a new business or whatever it was, I would find myself in these patterns where I would start it, but then the voice of doubt would get so loud that I would sabotage all of the progress that I had made and find myself back in my comfort zone that, although I hated, it felt safer to be there than it did in new territory where the voice of doubt was trying to tear me down. And it really wasn't until 2019 when I hit my rock bottom and was going to traditional therapy and then getting into the world of manifestation and the law of attraction and spirituality and doing the inner work, that I recognized that this was something that majority of people experienced, and that it was something that we actually have the power to conquer and overcome so that you can stand fully in your power and go have, be, and do every single thing that you want and manifest the life that you desire for yourself, as opposed to letting that voice of doubt hold you back. And I can tell you, in my life now, are there moments that the voice of doubt still pops up? Absolutely. Because I am a human, and humans are always going to have that voice to some sort of extent. But I have now been able to come up with a process to overcome the voice of doubt and continue to move forward on my path, and really recognize that that voice of doubt is not me in the first place. And just like I shared in the beginning of this podcast episode, that is exactly what we're going to be diving into in today's episode, is that unique process that I have been able to come up with to help you quiet the voice of doubt in your life and help you step into this place where, moving forward, if and when the voice of doubt does show up, you know exactly what you can do to overcome it and continue onward with your path. But before we get into that, I want to remind you that today is the last day that you can join the Abundant AF Babe Academy for this round. The Abundant AF Babe Academy is my signature online manifestation program that has been designed specifically to help you eliminate the mental, emotional, and energetic blockages that have been holding you back from attracting and manifesting your dream life, so that you can finally step into the highest version of yourself and create that life that you've always wanted for yourself. And after walking myself and now 250 plus women through this process, I can tell you that the Abundant AF Babe Academy is unlike any other manifestation program you will find out there, because not only do we mix the deep healing reprogramming of your subconscious mind and releasing those limiting beliefs, but we also pair it with somatic healing, and trauma healing work so that you can fully purge all of the things, all of the blockages that have been holding you back from your mind and from your body so that you are a clear channel to finally manifest that life that you desire for yourself. This is the exact process that I have taken myself through to go from rock bottom position where I was $70,000 in debt, not making enough money to survive, and literally just in what felt so very hopeless, to now living the life of my dreams, having complete time freedom, location freedom, financial freedom, and living a life greater than anything that I could have ever imagined for myself. So I can tell you that the Abundant AF Babe Academy is going to completely transform your life if you are willing to take that leap of faith and go all in on yourself. So the link to sign up today and today alone, February 28th of 2023, is down below in the show notes. You can claim your spot directly from the webpage, and as soon as you sign up, you get instant access to the online course, the private support community, and then on March 14th, we are going to be starting our group coaching calls where you actually get to see me every single week for 10 weeks. So once again, hit the link down below in the show notes to claim your spot in the Abundant AF Babe Academy. And oh my goodness, I'm so excited to help all of the women who are already on the inside and all of you who are going to choose to come on board to change your life with intentional manifestation, because this shit is wild, and what is possible for you when you learn how to master your own energy is beyond anything that you could ever imagine for yourself. But with that being said, let's first kick off quieting the voice of doubt in your head by noting that you are not the thoughts or the voices that you hear in your head. And what do I mean by this? What do I mean when I say that you are not the thoughts or the voices that you hear in your head? You are not those thoughts. They are simply just statements, questions, things that are running through your head that are inherently neutral, and you are actually just the observer of those thoughts, meaning that you create the meaning of these thoughts or identify with them, and when you do that, that's what brings life to them. Because on average, we are thinking 60 to 70,000 thoughts on a daily basis, and you are not every single thing that is running through your head. Those things are there purely because of the environment that you're in, the emotional state that you've been in, the way that you're treating your body, the conversations you're having, what you're consuming on a day-to-day basis, where your mental state is at. And with that, this is something that helped me so much when I first recognized it, was that if I was to look at every single one of those things, they would all just be feedback from what I was experiencing. But what majority of us do as humans, and this is where it can become really detrimental for us, is we will attach to the different thoughts that we are thinking and create a lot of meaning and put a lot of emotional charge behind them, as opposed to just recognizing that those thoughts are inherently neutral. They're not good or bad. They're not right or wrong. They're not positive or negative. They do not hold a meaning until we give them meaning. And that goes with all things in life. Nothing in life has meaning until we give it meaning. And if you look at this from person to person, the meaning of everything is so different because there's not one baseline meaning for everything. There's everybody's individual interpretation of it. So when it comes to you experiencing your thoughts on a day-to-day basis, the way that I like to think about this and helping you detach from those thoughts is thinking about it as if it's like cars driving on the interstate. There's going to be moments where that interstate is really busy and things are going to be zooming by, speeding past. There's going to be moments where there's traffic jams and there's cars honking and frustration and trying to move and slowly but surely, clunkily moving along. There's going to be moments where there's hardly any cars moving along it. There's going to be moments where there's no cars that are coming along it. And the more that you can train yourself to look at your thoughts as if there are those cars on the interstate, that they're just here for a moment. They're going to come and go regardless. They're temporary. They are going to move through. There are going to be those moments that they are stuck for a little longer because you're creating meaning or putting story behind them. But ultimately, those cars are always going to move through. And by doing this, it helps you detach from those thoughts. And the more that you can detach from your thoughts, the more that you're going to be able to free yourself from the voice of doubt. And the reason, majority of the time, that we attach meaning to the doubts that we have in the first place is because there's some sort of subconscious part of us that thinks that those thoughts are true. And because there's some sort of subconscious part of us that thinks that those thoughts are true, what your brain is then going to do is try to protect you from those things. And that's where the doubt gets louder and louder, because your brain and your body's number one job is to try and keep you safe. And if it's trying to keep you safe from something, it's going to do everything it possibly can to try and keep you small, down, in a place that you know is manageable. Again, even if your comfort zone does not feel good to you, to your brain and to your body, it still feels safer than you stepping into the unknown or creating positive change for yourself, because there isn't yet that conscious and subconscious level of safety associated to that thing, whereas there is some level of safety associated with the doubt. As weird as that sounds, I know to our conscious minds that sounds very backwards, that there would be like this positive association with the doubts and the fears, but because our brain recognizes that as a method to keep you small, keep you safe, keep you in your comfort zone, that's why it continues to come back up and come through in these moments where you are creating that positive change. But it doesn't have to be that way, and that is where this process that I've created comes into place, so that you can finally stop yourself in those moments where you are doubting yourself and reframe it in a way that you can continue to move forward, and with time and consistency, beat that voice of doubt so that you're really pursuing life in the way that you want to. So here is the process that you can use to start to remove those old neural pathways that are full of doubt, fear, and scarcity inside of your subconscious mind. And again, how you can slowly but surely start to build this new supportive belief system that will allow you to have that life that you truly want to have. So your first step in this process is becoming aware of this voice of doubt in the first place and what it's saying to you. Because for many of us, we're moving so quickly through life that we just automatically accept every single thing that our brain is saying to us. We accept every single thought that is moving through our minds as truth, when in reality, there's multiple different voices that are running around in your head. And identifying the one that is full of doubt is important for this, because we have to single that voice out in order to start to break off those neural pathways. So when you become aware of what this voice of doubt is and what the things it's saying to you, you put yourself into such an empowered position, because that's where you can finally start to break out of what your autopiloted beliefs and behaviors are and create a pattern interrupt in your brain and in your daily patterns to start to build that faith and belief in yourself. So although this may sound obvious, I want to say it because there's so many resources out there when it comes to manifestation and personal development that skips over the part where we must identify the things that are uncomfortable to us, because we just really, as humans, don't like to experience discomfort. And you must be willing to recognize this uncomfortable voice, this voice of doubt, and what it's been saying to you in order for you to actually change it in the long run and have it be something that is not burdening you on a day-to-day basis. So again, for your step 1, you are becoming aware of this voice and what it says to you. And then in your second step, you're going to be calling it out and giving it some recognition. So something to know about the subconscious mind is that it doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's imagined. So when you have this voice of doubt that pops up, and then you start to beat yourself up for the fact that you have thought that thought, or you're feeling so down on yourself, or you doubt yourself, that is essentially like you telling your subconscious mind that you should feel even worse for feeling these thoughts than you did in the first place. It's like reprimanding yourself for having a thought. So what we're going to change with this is, again, recognizing that you are not the thoughts inside of your head. So you do not need to beat yourself up for having those thoughts in the first place. And instead, recognize this voice of doubt as something completely external from yourself. Something that is not you showing up and choosing to treat yourself that way. And with the subconscious mind not knowing the difference between what's real and what's imagined, it's a lot easier for us to look outwards and say like, oh, if somebody said that to me, it would be easier for me to not believe it versus me saying it to myself. So looking at this voice of doubt and giving it a name if you want to, giving it the name of the ego, the judge, the critic, or even going as far as like giving it a real name. And this is actually something that I have the women inside of the Abundant AF Babe Academy do. Like, name that voice. And for myself in the past, when I've done this, I literally named this voice Gretchen, because Gretchen couldn't be further than Kat. And Gretchen is this crusty, nasty, bitchy little voice that likes to live up in my head that is just trying to protect me from the unknown and these things that I was going towards and trying to pursue. And so when it comes to the second step of calling it out and giving it some recognition, anytime you are in the face of somebody who has something to share with you, all they want is for you to acknowledge what they're saying in order for them to feel as though they're heard and can move on from that point. Like, have you ever had a conversation with somebody where you do not acknowledge what they say or what they're saying to you, and they just continue to say it over and over again because you haven't acknowledged them? That is the same with the voice of doubt in your head. It's going to continue to say the same shit over and over and over again until you acknowledge it. And again, this is something that goes against what most traditional resources will tell you to do, which is like, stop that thought and immediately push it out of your head. No, that does not work, because if you do not acknowledge what it is saying, it is going to continue to say it, because what we resist persists. And what we allow in, we can actually shine the light on and move through in a way that is going to create that long-lasting, sustainable success and result within it. So again, whether it be a name, whether it be the ego, the judge, the critic, whatever you want to put on it, when you hear this voice of doubt, I want you to pinpoint it and be like, oh, okay, like this is the ego. This is Gretchen that has come to show up today and try to move me away from whatever it is. Like, hey, Gretchen, I see you. I recognize that you're here. I recognize that you're trying to keep me safe, because there you've called it out and you've given it some sort of recognition. And again, subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's imagined. So this is a really awesome trick that you can play on the subconscious mind to start to break off these old neural pathways that are based in fear and doubt and move towards having the faith, trust, and confidence inside of yourself. And once you are there, step 3 is to state why what the voice of doubt is telling you isn't true. So let's take, for example, that the voice of doubt is coming up and telling you that you are not capable of manifesting a life full of more freedom, more time freedom, location freedom, and financial freedom. So First of all, in your first step, you want to become aware of this voice and what it's saying to you. Maybe it's saying, that's foolish, that's delusional. Who are you to think that you can have a life like that? Every time you've tried to do something like this in the past, you haven't been capable of it. What are the people going to think of you if you are no longer struggling like them? Isn't it selfish? Whatever it may be, all of these stories that are created to try and keep you small, you want to become aware of those first. And then in your second step, you're going to call it out and give it some recognition. So as that voice of doubt pops up, it's like, oh, okay, this is the voice of doubt. This is the ego. This is the critic. This is the judge. This is whatever name you choose to give it. This isn't me. So I recognize that it's here. Like, hey, ego, I recognize that you're here. And I recognize that you're trying to keep me safe by saying that I'm not capable of this. But I'm choosing not to believe you. And I'm choosing not to believe you because in step 3, I've seen myself be capable of so many things thus far in my life. And this is just the next piece of what I am capable of. And I know that by overcoming and accomplishing all of the things that I have thus far, I'm also capable of overcoming this. So in that step 3, you're really just plugging in like, why isn't this true? When have you proved this to be false in the past? Are there people that you've seen and you admire in your life that have done what you're wanting to do? Find that evidence and give it to your subconscious mind, because in that circumstance, what you're essentially doing is breaking off the old belief of it not being possible and providing your subconscious mind with evidence in the fact that it is. And the more evidence that you have in the fact that it is, whether that be from your personal experience in life or from somebody else that you know and admire, or from a celebrity or somebody in the public eye that you know, providing that evidence of the fact that yes, it is possible, is going to do such wonders for the subconscious mind. Because again, I'm going to say it again and again, the subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's imagined. So when you are telling yourself it's not possible, it's going to say, yes, okay, this isn't possible. But when you say, yes, it is possible, and here's evidence of the fact that it is, then your subconscious mind is going to go, yes, this is possible, and here's evidence for the fact that it is. So this step 3 is so important for this, because that's going to be the thing that with time and consistency is really going to break off that old neural pathway and help you build a new supportive belief system, which then in step 4, what you are doing is connecting to what gets to be true for you. So what do I mean when I say connecting to what gets to be true for you? What I mean is that you are creating your reality. Your beliefs and what you choose to give meaning to on a day-to-day basis is what is creating your reality. So choosing, intentionally and deliberately choosing supportive beliefs that are going to back you and having that dream and having the desires that you have is going to, again, with time and consistency, become what is true for you and therefore what you naturally manifest into your life. So tying into the evidence that you've provided to your subconscious mind in step 3, then you're backing it with, and I know that this is true for me because I'm capable. I am called. I am infinite. Best case scenario is always the inevitable for my life. I believe and I trust so fully in myself and in the universe. I know that I am capable of hard things, whatever it may be, because that's you sealing the deal and continuing to elevate yourself into a place and raising your set point of attraction into a place where you naturally start to manifest more abundance into your life. But when you let the voice of doubt win, that's keeping your vibration in a lower place that then manifests more of the shit that you don't necessarily want. But using this process, step 1 of becoming aware of this voice and what it's saying to you. Step 2, calling it out and giving it some recognition. Step 3, stating why what the voice of doubt is saying isn't true. And step 4, connecting to what actually gets to be true for you. This process has changed the game for me more than I could ever explain to you. And this has changed the game for so many of my clients. So I want you, the next time you're experiencing doubt, to give this a go, because you have absolutely nothing to lose by giving this process a go, and give it a go for a month. See what can happen if you commit yourself to trying this out for just 1 month and seeing how much can change in your life because of this one process. Because I can guarantee you so much will change by implementing this into your life, and so much abundance will manifest just by making this one shift. And with that, I also want you to know that quieting the voice of doubt is literally just one thing that we master together inside of the Abundant AF Babe Academy. And there's so much more, so many life-changing shifts that happen inside of the Abundant AF Babe Academy that takes your vibration from wherever it is right now to the highest possible standpoint it can naturally go, so that you are just calling in these bigger, better, and more abundant things into your life without constantly having to work so damn hard for them. So again, like I mentioned at the beginning of this podcast episode, today is the last day that you can join the Abundant AF Babe Academy for this round, and there will not be another round until well into the second half of 2023. So if you have been wanting to make 2023 the year that you actually change it all, that you manifest the things that you want, and you create that life full of freedom that you've always desired for yourself, go click the link down below in the show notes to join this round of the Abundant AF Babe Academy. I'm so excited to help guide all of the women who are coming on board and who have already come on board. It's going to be the best round yet. And I know that if you got value from today's podcast episode, that is literally just the teeniest, tiniest tip of the iceberg of what you will get from the Abundant AF Babe Academy. So you know what to do, and that is all that I have for you on today's podcast episode, but I am sending you all of my love, and I will chat with you on the next one.